Alright, how's it going, everybody? I just wanted to make this video in wake of the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie. That movie was amazing and yet again set the bar high for how a movie should be handled. It should first take care of the heart, and then the rest of the fun, the action, everything else follows through. The Spider-Man IP as a whole is just very relatable to everyone, I think, and that's exactly what I want to talk about. How Spider-Man reflects my life in so many ways. I know he does for all people, so let's just take a moment to love and relish in why he's so damn relatable and cherished. Whether it's Miles, Peter, Gwen, Miguel, May Parker, Silk, they're all extremely relatable. Some of the things that are relatable, unfortunately, I think some of the greatest Spider-Man fans find whole too relatable. And in this dark and perfect world, I think that's exactly why Spider Man is the number one most popular character. As a writer myself, I believe that's arguably the number one job of an author is to relate to your audience. And some of the best ways is to pull from your own life. Us as humans, whether we want to admit it or not, no matter race or religion, all have been through heartbreak, struggles, unwanted responsibilities, and have had our own bullies or villains, meaning we all relate to each other more than we think. So I want to discuss some things that I've always loved and related with Spider-Man since day one. Now the first one might be a little preachy for some of y'all, but no worries, I won't dwell on it too long. Alright, let's do this one more time. My name is Joshua, and since I was a young man, I've dealt with the struggles most people see as religion. As a Christian, I put a lot on myself with my representation. I had to realize it's not about man made impossible perfection. Yes, we should aspire to be perfect like God is, but in our walk in love and His words, not praying 3 times a day, going to church however many times a week, or not cursing, or all these things, just checking off a checklist in order to get into heaven. It's not about what you check off that checklist, but it's about your relationship with God. See, it's deeper than that. See, that's just religion. That's man's way of getting to God. But again, it's supposed to be about your personal relationship with God and leaning on God. And yes, I had to realize that with great power, that was going to need great responsibility. See, love is that power, and God is the embodiment of love. So if I'm walking around in judgment, hate, jealousy, and hypocrisy, I'm not representing Christ, right? Which is a big issue we have in the world today. I'm sure there are non religious, non Christian viewers right now who are watching this who have experienced that, and they have a bad taste in their mouths towards Christians because of that. So that's something I looked at, is that if I want to show the world different and give them a different interpretations of what it means to be Christ-like or to be a Christian, then I had a responsibility I had to live up to. I couldn't do like unfortunately, some Christians do, which is get so caught up in that judgment and that hate that they turn people away. That's how I connect right there with Spider-Man. See, when Peter or Miles or whoever took on the mantle of becoming a hero, there was already so much bad taste towards what being a vigilante. So you have people like J. Jonah Jameson, the police, and the government who hate any type of superhero who puts on a mask, who they don't have the identity for, who go out in the world and do what they want to do. And yes, you have some of those so-called heroes who are beating the crap out of people, leaving them bloody in the streets. So Spider-Man wanted to be different. He wanted to show that you could save everybody, that you don't pick and choose who you want to save based on if they're good or not, and that you're going to be a different hero that don't leave people with broken bones and bloody faces and everything else, but you set a new example and therefore maybe change the hearts of police and how other people view him as Spider-Man or view heroes in general. So that's right there. You can obviously see the connection there. Me trying to change maybe as much as I can control the view of how people see Christians based on my actions. Very similar to how Peter Parker, Miles, or Gwen wanted to change how people viewed heroes and vigilantes based on their actions. So, yes, I had to swallow pride and walk in love, even unconditional love, like Christ did for me. That right there was my symbolic weight that I had to bear, or at least one of them. Because the next thing is, well, I'm black. Now, race or culture, everyone bears that self representation crown of, I represent this culture, I represent this race, I represent this family name. So I often looked at my own skin and said things like, I'm going to be the first black this, or I'm going to increase the numbers on black that. This adds to the things of what do I want to represent and how do I want to represent it. So when Miles is facing the fact that he is the next Spider-Man, he faces how he wants to represent this symbol. When he's facing getting ready for college, he's faced with doing things for his family and how he wants to do things for himself. something that's actually touched on this in this movie. And you see, I'm not even speaking on the fact that he is half black, half Puerto Rican. He is representing two cultures, two races. That's not even the gist of the issue here. It's not really how he represents himself as a black Spider-Man, because that's never, important when it comes to being Spider-Man. What race is under there is just to show that anyone can be Spider-Man, male or female, black, white, Hispanic, Indian, whatever, or Asian. But what I am speaking on is how Miles had to deal with living up to a legacy, as they were already Spider-Man before him, as there was Peter Parker before him. If you read the comics, there's Peter Parker and Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew before him, and Jessica Drew taught him the reins. So he's trying to live up, well, how do I live up to this already built legacy? That is something that I relate to for me with race and with my family name. How do I live up to my family's legacy? Or how do I increase my family legacy? Or how do I, live up to what it means to be a black man, or whatever the case may be. Again, there is that relatability that any person can relate to, no matter, again, race or whatever. Stan Lee has talked about his creation of Spider Man and how he wanted him to be relatable. He wanted him to be different from the rest. And so he became the first superhero to struggle with paying bills. It's levels of struggle, figuring out life, vulnerability that brought Spider Man to the eyes of so many and then left him in the hearts of many more. It wasn't awesome powers, it wasn't billionaire status, it wasn't cool suits, it wasn't invulnerability, but vulnerability that put these characters on top. Then they did the brave and wonderful move of creating Spider Woman, then Gwen, and Miles and Miguel. They showed everyone you don't have to be a nerd or a man or white to be Spider Man. You just had to be human. This is why I believe when you write, you should write from your heart, not what you think others want. And I believe that's the biggest issue that we have today in Hollywood, books, comics, is that there's too many authors now trying to write what they think the world wants to see right now. And they're losing the art of writing from your heart and what you've been through. See, if you're black, you can't write from a Hispanic perspective. If you're a man, you can't write from a woman's perspective. Also, not everyone wants to see that perspective necessarily, although I definitely love when I see black faces and things that I love. But they just want to see something else they relate to on just life struggles altogether, things that they can relate to past just the race. If we do more of that in our writings, in our movie makings, or whatever, if we're writing from the heart, we're going to connect to a whole lot more people than just writing on what we think the hottest thing is to talk about for the year. I only hope my books measure to even a tiny level of warmth and relatability to my audience. Please tell me how you relate to Spider Man, what he means to you. We will continue the breakdown of this IP as I discuss so much more that I relate to this fictional character named Spider Man. Be blessed and stay tuned for the next video.